How's it going? Thought I'd do a bit of a clip showing you how we've moved some asparagus crowns into some IBCs out in the front yard here. We were lucky enough to have 4 that were growing in some wicking barrels down the side of the house, and I split a couple of them, so we have 6 in one bed, and I was given a whole heap of seedlings from a friend. Thank you, Tammy. And she mailed them up to us, and I've planted them out into the other IBC. They were living in pots for a little while, irrigated by wet pots, but I thought it was time for them to have their own big bed to go into. So I shot a bit of footage the other day showing how to do it. Unfortunately, I didn't film an intro. I thought I had, but I hadn't, so that's why I'm filming this one now. So we'll go and have a look now at how I planted them out, and I hope you enjoy the clip. So this is the bed they went into. What we have is crown here, 2 crowns in the middle and 2 crowns at the end. Now when these guys came out of the wicking barrels, they look like monsters. They're absolutely humongous, the roots on them. So I was speaking to a chap a while back at the local Ipswich markets, and he was saying that with his asparagus he's had to transplant when he moved once, and he actually trimmed the roots back by about half. So I've trimmed these roots back by half, and we'll see how they go. So far it's looking encouraging because we have a little shoot off of one of the crowns I divided. So these 2 here were 1 crown I chopped in half, and these 2 over here were a crown I chopped in half. So this is the bed they'll be going into. When I moved the bed out here, I noticed there was thousands of worms in here. It was absolutely crawling with the little fellas. So what I've done is I've put a bag of horse manure in there. That'll act as food for the worms. I've also added some of our CBM fertiliser. It's chicken compost, bone meal, blood meal and rock minerals. So that's just sprinkled over the top and also dug in there as well. This bed is going to be very rich and very fertile. Asparagus are a heavy feeder, so it is a good thing to give them a bit of food. So the seedlings I'll be planting out are this pot here and some from this pot over here. This pot over here has picked up a hitchhiker, a purple flesh sweet potato, a Okinawan one, so I'm going to try and save him, but these little asparagus seedlings do need to come out. So I'm just going to give these guys a bit of a haircut, and then we'll pull the crowns out and see what they look like. Look at that. I think these guys were extremely happy in here. So we'll just try and tease these crowns apart a bit. Some of this soil out. It's going to be a bit hard to try and get all this soil out nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the hose and just hit this root mass with the hose and see if we can get the soil out that way. Be back in a tick. Well, there you go. I've got the majority of the soil out of this. This thing is just amazing. You can see the wet pot down in there. So I think these asparagus really like these little pressurized oyas or wet pots. Now I've got to break these guys up. So what I can see here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crowns. So I'm going to try and untangle these roots the best I can without damaging them too much, and then I'll show you how I'm planting them out. When you buy the bare rooted asparagus, as we have in the past, you don't actually get all these fine small hairs, so I'm not too worried about whether they fall off or not. This could take some time, so I might just skip to the end for you, hey? So there we have the 4 crowns. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll get to the other container and I'll clean that out and I'll see how many we end up with. I'll just move these to one side. Empty this out. And yeah, just as prolific with the root growth, and we have some sweet potato down here as well, so a bit of a bonus harvest with this one. So mini harvest of purple flesh sweet potato. I'll try and keep this plant alive. I'll go put him in a bottle and we'll plant him out somewhere. So this is the other asparagus. We've got 3 viable crowns in here, so we'll have 7 in this bed all up. So I'll go about dividing these guys and then we'll get to planting them out. So out of the 2 containers I actually got 8 crowns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now to planting these guys out. I'm just going to put them into a container for the time being while I organise these beds. Now I know how many crowns I've got to go in. So I'm thinking the best way for me to plant these guys out is actually to remove some of this soil, prepare the little mounds for the roots and then shovel the soil back in. So my back is going to absolutely hate me for this. I did my back moving this one the other day, so I'm going down to get the wheelbarrow and my shovel, and then we'll get back to it. So I've just leveled this out a bit just to show you in a small area here. 3, 4, oops, 5, just the worms. There's worms all through this soil. So I've mounded up 8 little mounds in there, and now what I'm going to do is plant these guys out. I've left the stalks a little bit longer on some of them just so I know where the actual crown is, and you can see all the new buds, the new growth coming through for spring. So what I'm going to do now is spread these guys, fan them out a bit on top of these mounds like so. Their roots will go down. There's one here, put a small one over the back there, put a larger one in the middle here, and so on all the mounds. And I missed a mound. There you go, need to go back to school. Mound number 8 goes over the back there, and actually I've just realised that this one is actually 2 small ones, so I think I might just keep him together anyway. Pop him over the back there, and that's pretty much all it. So all I need to do now is just cover these roots up with the soil like so. So there we go. That looks pretty neat and tidy to me. The surprising thing for me is still the amount of worms just even on the surface here. There's just a few. So it's pretty surprising how many can actually set up shop in one of these IBC beds. There's another large one, we'll bury him. And I've unearthed one burying him. So they're just everywhere. There's another one. Sorry matey. Normally after you plant your crowns, what you do is you give it a nice thick top dress of compost. I don't have any compost that I'd feel comfortable putting on here. All the compost we have is full of weed seed. It's sitting just behind the pigeon pea clump behind me. So because we have so many worms in here, just loads of them, there's 2 there, I feel rather comfortable adding some semi-composted horse manure on top of here, and that will break down and provide nutrients through the worms' castings for these asparagus come spring. So there's about 5 centimetres or 2 inches of stable scrapings and horse manure on top there. Should be more than enough to feed the worms, which will in turn fertilise the bed with their castings. So now all it's a matter of doing is I'm just going to top dress it with a bit of sugarcane mulch. So there we go. So there's a quick look at how I've planted out the asparagus. I've spoken to some people who've grown them around here for a few years. Also read up a fair bit from the books and online, and I'm pretty sure I'm on the money with both methods I've used there. One trimming monstrous roots, and the other just dividing and planting straight onto little mounds like that. So, well, it's been a week to the day since I planted this bed out, and I just thought I'd show you what we've got. We have every single crown is throwing up a spear. So these asparagus, Tammy, I'm very happy with them. Thank you very much again. So every single one of them is throwing up at least 1 spear. So most impressed. I think we're on a winner with these guys for sure. Over here, the more mature asparagus, we have one very definite spear coming up there. Have a couple on this one down here. A little bud just forming over here. Those 2 at the back there, no signs yet. And this one down here has a nice little white head. So I just thought I'd throw that in there at the end just to show you how well they're going. So if you've got any comments, questions or suggestions, just drop them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you. Other than that, have a great one, take it easy. Cheers! There will be more than enough to feed this bed. Now I'll just go get the hello.